Hello and welcome. Today, we're diving into a really powerful idea from the wisdom of Swami Sri SADA Shiv. We're going to take a look at something that might just flip what you think you know about spiritual practice. It turns out our desires aren't just little wishes, they're actually the very tools we use to shape our reality. So let's get right into it.
So, to kick things off, let's start with a basic question. Think about any spiritual practice, maybe something like chanting a mantra. What do you think is the means to an end, and what's the actual goal? Most of us would probably say, well, the mantra is the goal, right? It's the powerful thing we're trying to get right.
But here's the twist. According to the source we're looking at today, that's not it at all. The mantra, or any practice, is just the tool, the sadhan. The real goal, the sadhya, is your desire. Your intention, what the text calls your ishta, is actually the sun that the whole practice is supposed to orbit around. It's a total game changer of a perspective.
So, here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to start by really defining what desire is in this context. Then, we'll get into a super important test for picking our intentions. After that, we'll see how to actually nurture them, check out the two very different outcomes you can get, and finally, we'll uncover this beautiful idea called the secret of adoration.
Okay, let's dive into that first big idea, this foundational question. Is desire the destination we're aiming for, or is it the vehicle that gets us there?
Well, Swami Sri SADA Shiv talks about it almost like it's a kind of physics. Desire isn't some passive, fleeting thought. The act of repeatedly, consciously focusing on what you want actually pulls energy from the universe, and it concentrates that power right in your heart. And what does that do? It strengthens your mind, your willpower, your entire life force.
You know, if desire is that powerful, then we've got to be incredibly careful about which ones we decide to amplify, right? And that brings us to a really practical, and I'd say crucial, first step, how you test a desire before you start pouring all your energy into it.
The source lays out a pretty simple three-step litmus test. First, you have to get crystal clear on what the desire actually is. Really know it. Second, and this is the most important part, you have to ask yourself, does this desire, at its core, cause suffering, for me or for anybody else? And if the answer to that is yes, well, the third step is simple. You decide to reject it. You only accept and move forward with the desires that pass that test.
And there's a serious warning that comes with this. Why is that test so critical? Because the moment you start nurturing a desire with your attention, even one that just popped into your head, you start feeding it. It gets stronger and stronger, and it becomes really, really hard to let go of down the line.
So what happens once a desire has passed the test? You've looked at it, you know it's beneficial, now we get to shift gears from filtering to actively growing it. This is all about nurturing your intention.
The core practice here is something called bar chintan. Now, this is more than just thinking about something over and over. It's the act of repeated, and here's the key word, affectionate contemplation. It's like you're gently and consistently watering the little seed of your intention with focused positive thought. And this isn't just wishful thinking. The source is very clear that this process is like direct fuel for your willpower. You are consciously making that desire stronger. So its eventual manifestation isn't some matter of luck. It becomes a natural, almost inevitable outcome.
Okay, so this brings us to the consequences. We've seen the process, but what's the payoff? Depending on the kind of desire you chose way back at the beginning, you are now walking down one of two very different paths, headed for two totally different results.
So let's just put them side by side and look at the harvest you get from each type of desire. On one side, you've got the kalyankari icha, that's your beneficial desire. And on the other, the akalyankari icha, the harmful one.
The result of a beneficial desire? It's pretty amazing. It leads to joy and growth, not just for you, but for everyone. But the fate of a harmful desire? Honestly, it's a bit chilling. The text says it takes on a mert swarup, a real, concrete form, and it literally becomes an enemy, an ari or shatru, that ends up causing pain to you and everyone around you.
So how do we wrap all of this up? The discipline, the focus, the outcome, it all comes together in one really profound concept. Let's uncover this last piece of the puzzle, the secret of aradhana, or what we can call adoration.
Now, aradhana isn't about passive worship. The source defines it as an active process. It's the state of complete, unbroken, and focused contemplation on your chosen goal, your desire. Think of it as the ultimate, master-level version of that bar chintan we talked about. It's total, unwavering focus.
And what's so cool is that the secret is hidden right inside the word itself. The root of aradhana is connected to radha, which etymologically means the unbroken stream of consciousness. So this idea of a continuous, unstoppable flow of thought is literally baked into the concept. And that brings us to the final, crucial point. True adoration, this disciplined, unbroken stream of focus on a goal that's worthy, is presented as the absolute best, most effective method for achieving what you desire. It really is the culmination of this whole path.
And that brings it all right back to you, doesn't it? After going through this whole process, from that first simple test to the final act of adoration, the real question is a personal one. When you look at your own life, at your own intentions, you have to ask yourself, which of my desires is truly worthy of that kind of adoration?